Welcome, folks, to The Uncommon Good with Bo Bonner and Dr. Bud Marr. Every week, diving deep into the truth of Catholic social teaching and restoring all things in Christ. The Uncommon Good, live from Iowa Catholic Radio's Mercy Live Up Studios.
The Uncommon Good is on the air. I'm Bo Bonner.
This is Professor, Doctor, Friend, Patriot, Bud Marr.
Patriot, where's Mentor? We are coming live from all across the United States here in Des Moines, Iowa. I am in the Iowa Catholic Radio Live Up Studios here in Des Moines, where I am Director of Mission and Ministry at Mercy College of Health Sciences and the Director of the Zeta Foundation of Ethics and Leadership. Foundations of Ethics and Leadership. You can check us out online, zetainstitute.com, mchs.edu. Bud is out in Pittsburgh at the National Institute of Newman Studies. Bud, what do you even do out there?
I direct, but these days I'm looking for on the horizon for the bat signal because my wife, Rachel, could go into labor at any moment. So if all of a sudden my end goes silent, you know that I'm attending to more important things.
That's true. If you start, whelping, or if you start to sound very emotional. You threw friend in there, so you're already kind of halfway there. So that's very nurturing of you, Bud. I appreciate it.
Well, I'm not a very good person, though, because I've been envying those cultures where the father's not expected to be in the delivery room. I know that's a terrible thing to say.
On radio.
I keep convincing my coworker to, get a fake beard and pose as me, but he's like, no, this is not happening.
Well, I don't know if we want to mention our sponsors after that one.
But I will be there, though.
Okay.
I will be there by her time.
For instance, we're underwritten always by Cartridge World, and we always bring up 801 73rd Street in Windsor Heights. We're always bringing up ideas you can use to actually print stuff off. I think all your friends here in Des Moines need to print off congratulations, probably not to you, but definitely to your wife, Rachel.
That would be nice. I feel like with the school year right around the corner, I know I keep pushing the school year forward,
yeah.
But this time, as summer winds down, you definitely need to have consistent printing. Your printing needs met on a consistent basis.
And by the way, you actually spurred a intense conversation, speaking of husbands and wives, because Robin and I were trying to determine whether July actually is the summer wrapping up or not. And I think she's with you. It must be because you both have dark hair. I'm all I thought July 1st was the start of summer, so you've only caused strife. So good job.
Yeah, I don't know. Summer when I was a kid seemed to drag on forever, but now it's right after Memorial Day, I just feel like things are over.
Well, something that is never over and that you can always join up, our other sponsor, always underwritten by Mercy College of Health Sciences. You can go all year, Bud. We have classes going on right now. We just finished midterms. You can get signed up for fall still. If fall is approaching too fast, you can always get enrolled in spring. Multiple ways to be a part of our Mercy family. mchs.edu. You can do degrees totally online. You can have accelerated degrees. There's all sorts of stuff that we have, but even more than the multiple ways in which you can be a part of Mercy College, there's, of course, the reality of the Mercy difference that you and I get the privilege to do every time we teach a class.
No, with you saying that, one thing I always loved about Mercy, I really admired a lot of the students who, there we have a lot of students with families, with other jobs, but Mercy helped to make it possible for really busy people who wanted to break into the medical field to be able to do so. So it was always an honor, and still an honor to teach there.
Speaking of honors, Bud, today on the program we actually have the new president of Mercy College, Dr. Douglas Fiore. He's always had me go by Doug. What I think is really great about this, Bud, is not only do we get to talk more about one of our underwriters, but the pressure's on because I think I could get fired on air. So this is like the playoffs of radio.
I've wondered about that. I thought that was a bold move inviting basically your boss. It's like if we were to have my mom on air, it just changes the tenor. There are things that you do and don't say in front of your boss. But I think this will go well. You know what, Bo? I've been thinking a lot about higher education because there's Newman University in Wichita has asked me to come talk about that topic. So I'm actually kind of I'm eager for this interview because I'm to plumb Dr. Fiore's mind.
So what I think is great about this is to show you guys how much of a multitasker Bud is. Bud is using a radio guest to write another talk. And if that is not like the Nebraska sort of raw efficiency Bud. I don't know an example of it that's better than that.
I'm also clipping my toenails right now, so it's the trifecta.
And you just sound so calm and unaffected the entire time. Oh, man. So, man, Bud, you're making it hard to complete this opening segment because you are on fire. You know what? I actually think it's like your brain is utilizing unconscious amounts of processing power because being a new dad is imminent. So I just think you're on point. This is like Michael Jordan in the flu game, for like Brett Favre after his dad passed away. This might be your best show ever, just to add the pressure on you because I know you're an anxious person.
Well, that's right. In college it was a weird experience. I had a buddy and we would talk about, like, with exams, it was, on the one hand, you were really loathing the exam, but then again, just kind of that anticipation. So we'd do this, like, game time and, like, a tunnel walk going into the exam room.
Yeah.
And I think with labor right around the corner that I am sort of geared up. See, like I'm in a higher gear.
That's the lie I tell myself about procrastinating. I'm all like, yeah, you could write 3 months beforehand, but, like, that won't be... My Brett Favre game is if I'm writing the night before, fourth quarter, right? That's what
you need to come up with a meme. Yeah, a meme, like, the idea of myself procrastinating, it's like a photo of Ernest Hemingway.
Right.
And then, like, me actually procrastinating, and you're all frazzled.
Yeah, we better not, like, state-specific names. Although, but I have to say, I am now getting texts from our friends in Des Moines. Is she in labor and he's on the radio? So you're already getting in trouble.
Honey, give me a half hour, okay? I'll be there.
Well, guys, you're going to enjoy this show. We've primed it up as the best one yet. So this is the Uncommon Good. Stick around. We'll be back after this break. Bud, you might have noticed that the animal has changed. That's because, so just to give a short history of the animal noise real quick, some people, the eagle freaked them out. So we switched to a kitty cat. I got a phone call, yesterday that said, or last week, that they thought we needed something a bit more bold than a cat. So we're going to try the horse neighing this time. If you don't like any of these, Bud, do you know how people can let us know? They can text on the Zip Whip line.
Zip Whip!
515-223-1150, 515-223-1150. Let us know if you disapprove of our horse noises, of talking about labor, of our weird 1990 sports metaphor. If you have problems, questions, 515-223-1150, Zip Whip line. Hashtag UCG. Bud, call Rachel, make sure everything's okay, and we'll be back after these break.
Thank you, Farm Bureau agent Cindy Schulte, for underwriting Catholic Women Now. As an authorized independent agent, Cindy's team can provide health insurance options from Wellmark Blue Cross Blue Shield of Iowa. Cindy Schulte at 1315 50th Street in West Des Moines, or on the web at cindyschulte.com. 515-226-2111. Cindy and her team know health insurance.
Wellmark Blue Cross Blue Shield of Iowa is an independent licensee of the Blue Cross Blue Shield Association. Products available at Farm Bureau Financial Services.
Programming support for Catholic Women Now is provided by Iowa's injury attorney, Fred Haas. For over 30 years, Fred Haas has helped injured Iowans recover financial, physical, and emotional losses from car, truck, and motorcycle accidents, work-related injuries, and injuries due to negligence. Most importantly, providing the professional, personal, and responsive legal counsel that everyone deserves. Fred, double D, Haas, double A, the Des Moines Law Offices of Fred Haas. While we have time, let us do good.
Support for the Uncommon Good is provided by Cartridge World. Cartridge World is an industry leader delivering high-performance printing products that help you save time, money, and print great.
Perfect for businesses, home offices, college students, or busy moms trying to find affordable printing supplies including ink, toner, paper, or printers. For business customers, pickup and delivery are available. Products are guaranteed or full replacement.
Cartridge World, your low-cost, environmentally friendly printing experts, 801 73rd Street in Windsor Heights, 515-564-7400, and online at cartridgeworld.com.
Since 1924, St. Vincent de Paul has been helping those less fortunate work towards self-sufficiency. Last year, St. Vincent de Paul helped over 20,000 individuals with food, clothing, and shelter, while also offering classes in financial literacy, high school completion, career readiness, and prisoner re-entry. svdpdsm.org, 515-282-8327. Shop, donate, volunteer, serve. This message was brought to you by Homemakers Furniture.
the Uncommon Good. Bo Bonner, Dr. Bud Marr. Sorry that we had that little extra music break. Jeb was really digging the violins, the fiddles, I should say. But we have a very special guest with us today. I told him specifically I was going to embarrass him by giving an extremely long bio, but I actually think it's pretty cool. Like, we get to have on the president of Mercy College of Health Science, so Douglas J. Fiore, PhD, was appointed the third president of Mercy College of Health Sciences by the Mercy College of Board of Directors on June 10th, 2018. Earned his Doctor of Philosophy degree in Educational Administration from Indiana State University, Master of Science in Education from Purdue, and a Bachelor of Arts in Education in Speech Arts and Sciences from Hofstra University. He has taught in the K-12 world. He has taught in the university world. Most recently, before he came here, Provost and Vice President of Academic Affairs at Park University, has authored or co-authored several books, 8 is what I number here now, part of many professional boards. The biggest thing that we want to talk about today, that I love this line, he attributes his devotion to those in need to his deep commitment to the Catholic understanding of the human person, and works tirelessly on their behalf through his vocational calling as a scholar, educator, and administrator. And we have him in the studio today. Welcome, President Fiore.
Thank you very much, Bo. It's a pleasure to be here with you today.
So I'm glad that you got to see what might be the best show opening we ever had.
Yeah.
And Bud is ready to go. Bud, you're still with us, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, present. That's right. So, yeah, not only, new to a job, new to an area, but within just a few months decide to come on the show. I don't want to call that a bold move, but, do you feel like you know Des Moines well enough? I mean, first of all, you made it to the studio. And
I did.
Sometimes that's hard for people.
I did. It was very, very easy to find, as a matter of fact.
Des Moines has it's known for the mythical 20 minutes to anywhere.
That is very true.
You've noticed
I've learned
this.
that. It is 20 minutes anywhere in the city.
Like hospital to morgue, so birth to the grave, and then all of the shops in between.
And the radio station.
All
right there.
20 minutes. So not to, again, put you on the spot too much, but what are some of the first things that stand out to you just being in Des Moines? You came last from Kansas City.
I did.
I know you and I have complained a lot about Kansas City traffic.
It's terrible.
We don't play in Kansas City yet, so we can say that. But so just a few things. Des Moines, what appeals to you now that you're here?
Oh, my goodness. Bo, it's almost like what doesn't appeal to me. I mean, my wife, Julie, and I have really embraced this city. We love the suburbs. We live out in West Des Moines. We love downtown. We love the food. We love the art scene, the sports scene. We took my daughter, who was visiting, and my mom to the Iowa Cubs game this Sunday. But mostly, I'd have to say it's the people. The people in Des Moines are just genuinely nice people. That's the only way I can say it.
Yeah, the Minnesota gets to say Iowa nice. I read Minnesota nice, but in the nicest way possible. I just think we should rip that from their hands.
Absolutely, let's do it.
So I had the privilege of being part of the team that got to interview the presidential candidates and interview you. So one question that I loved how you responded that we asked was, we wanted a president with a Catholic heart. And I remember asking you, and not to be, I'm sure people can think I'm, kissing up here, but I'm being honest. I saw your face light up to this idea of a Catholic heart. So what does it mean that your job, the job where you get to be president, was a Catholic school and a place that wanted you to have a Catholic heart?
Well, as long as you don't remember exactly what I said the first time, we'll try and make sure it's at least close, because very sincerely, I think that to have a Catholic heart, while it certainly means embracing the teaching, the ethos, the history, the beliefs of the Catholic Church, one doesn't have to focus on that to have a Catholic heart. A Catholic heart is a heart that welcomes people, that wants people to believe that they're welcome, that's all-inclusive to people of all backgrounds, and that's a heart that is truly focused on doing the work of God, not in necessarily any sort of a religious way, in whatever profession, whatever relationship that one is acting in.
Dr. Fiore, this is Bud. Thanks for being with us. I've been reading a lot about these topics recently, as I mentioned in the intro, and, tracing the history of colleges and universities in the United States, like one thing that a lot of authors point out is that in some ways we've lost a sense of like the unifying vision of knowledge. So students study different topics, but it's kind of it's more like a buffet. Like I'll take a little bit here and a little bit there, and the focus really is ultimately on professional development and career success.
Yeah.
Do you think? I mean, what do you see as the challenges for reaching kids, like you said? I guess being informed by the Catholic tradition and helping them to see, for instance, at Mercy College, one thing that Bo and I would focus a lot on is how do we understand human persons, not just like as a bag of blood and bones, but as persons with spiritual needs and dreams and desires, and meeting them compassionately. Is that still possible in today's higher ed context?
Bud, thank you so much for that question. And not only is it possible, it's absolutely necessary. Now, having said that, no, it's not easy because, as you correctly pointed out, college, university studies have become so much a hodgepodge and a collection of what might seem disconnected pieces of information. And at the same time, it's become a collection of information designed to get one a job. I think that at Mercy College, though, one of the things that distinguishes us and distinguishes Catholic colleges and universities in general is that we believe you can teach the necessary knowledge and skills to be prepared to be an outstanding professional while constantly focusing on the fact that we do this work with human beings, with human needs. At our college, for example, I'm not just saying it because Bo's sitting here, because after all, he's the one that's supposed to be nervous, not me. But the reality is, we have Bo. At one point in our past, we had you. Having somebody who is specifically focused on the mission and the ministry not only makes sure that the rest of us are constantly reminded of that importance permeating our entire curriculum and everything we do, but it also shows the student body and it shows the community that we take that role seriously. Bud reports directly to me for a reason. It's not because I have to watch him very, very closely, which probably could be one, but it's really, I probably should, but it's really because the work that Bo does and what Bo represents and mission and ministry on our campus is so essential and at the heart of what we do. So, yes, colleges and universities can and must continue to focus on the individual needs.
See, Bud, I know you were always worried about me and how much I ate, but that's why I got as big as I've done, because when you wear a purple shirt and you're my size, it's really obvious that you're advertising about Mercy.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Walking billboard.
Walking billboard. Well, I appreciate that answer, of course. And, people listening on the radio are going to say, well, yes, of course, you guys are going to talk about your school and really ramp that up. It's all true. But like I pointed out, you've authored or co-authored multiple books on this very subject. This is what you've done your whole life. So it's one thing to go, I want to go and be a president for the first time at a Midwestern college, a Catholic college, all of these things. But what in your background has worked in your research interest towards this moment, like that you've decided president is a way of vocational calling to address some of these issues that you've researched your entire career?
Yeah, it really has, on the surface in some ways, and sometimes when I sit back and just, re-examine my career to this point, it seems like some unusual twists and turns, but it's actually all very consistent and very aligned with what I've been focusing on my entire career. My research has been on the intersection between organizational culture, specifically in schools, and the behavior of leaders and how leaders impact that and how that impacts leaders. So, when you do this kind of research and you recognize the importance not of the leader because of the person's job tasks, but because of that person's ability to impact, celebrate, and advance a culture, it becomes natural that you reach a point in your career where you search for the culture that already embraces what you embrace. So, I've had a career of trying to be a good leader and trying to positively impact the culture. I came to this college because the culture is already aligned with everything I believe. There are some times that, like in any culture, we can get lost, we can get sidetracked, we can get a little bit off schedule. And to me, from my research, the leader is the person in the best position to keep everybody focused on the mission and to positively impact the work environment. Mercy is honestly the best environment that I could imagine anywhere in this country where I specifically ought to be doing that.
That's great stuff. And as I was joking in the intro, I'm preparing a talk on this myself. So if it's all right, Doug, I'd like to pick your brain on one thing. So if you read about higher ed, like the literature that's out there, you sense a lot of anxiety. Mm-hmm. But the anxiety that I hear, it seems to come from a couple quarters. And one is humanities professors, and the other is leaders at small, like especially private colleges. But I'm guessing, like the geneticist in his laboratory at State U, he doesn't have much anxiety. He's got access to the best equipment in the world. Right. He's got the prestige that comes with working on this cutting-edge science. Right. And I'm starting to wonder, as small colleges, do you think there's maybe a danger in... So when I was growing up, like in a Christian subculture, mm-hmm. you'd go to the Christian bookstore and you'd see these signs that say, like, if your kid likes Nirvana, he'll love Audio Adrenaline.
That was
I worry.
Wow, bud, that is bringing back some memories.
Starflyer
59, bro. Sorry, that is really no one knows what I'm talking about. Go ahead. Sorry.
I felt like pop and rock music kind of set the edge, and then like Christian subculture was like one step behind. But the imitation was never actually cool as Nirvana, right? And I just worry sometimes, like with like small Catholic colleges. Do you think there's maybe a danger in saying like, we want to be like Research U, but on a smaller scale?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, look, any combination, even being a Research U, but on a smaller scale, it can work. Anything can work if it occurs in a culture that supports it and believes in it, which is why I always focus on the culture of the organization first and how you can't make change and you can't do things differently until you impact that. But to the larger question, I think it's a mistake for those of us in small institutions, whether they be Catholic, whether they be liberal arts, whether they be nursing and health sciences as we are, or a combination of all of those three. It's a mistake to try and be something that we're not. I think we've reached that point of anxiety where we've made the mistake of starting to apologize for who we are, when in fact there is a need for us. And people will respect us much more when we stand up and say, this is who we are. This is not who we are. And we are going to be the best version of us that we can be going forward. So while I'm the president of a small Catholic institution, I honestly feel no anxiety about our ability to survive and thrive going forward.
I think it starts to be, I mean, this is a principle that you start to see just in any part of your life, that people, it's not that you have to be, arrogant or proud, but if you are honest and comfortable in your own skin, warts and all, challenges and all, that people start to respect that. Right. It seems a grand temptation for the church, in large part, for certain dioceses, for institutions, to look at someone else who might be successful and wish, like some bad '80s movies, that we can like make a switcheroo. And we'd do this, and then we would think like, I wish I was Notre Dame, and then we'd wake up Notre Dame, and we'd realize we're still losing at football with all that money, and all those problems. And then at the end of the movie, I don't know, there'd be a romance, and then we'd switch back. You guys have seen the movie. The point being is when some place like ours, Mercy College, starts to go, we know who we are because we've been called to be it. And that, I think, is the important part. Yes. As a person, as an institution, do you believe you've been called to be distinct? And that's one of the wonderful things in the short time we've already been here that I keep hearing that. We have been called to be distinct. Why would we back away from our calling?
That's so true. And you can advance and change and morph and grow and be relevant and be cutting edge while still being who you're called to be. Some people have trouble understanding that, But to me, that's quite simple and obvious, and that's what we're going to be doing over the next few years.
And I think, Bud, I mean, you'd agree with this.
Yeah.
We have both been called at Mercy, interacting with Mercy, staying with Mercy as you do as an adjunct. We've been called in a place where even in our short time here, we can see some of those transformations. And I think that starts to be an interesting thing. Write this down for your paper, Bud. That there's a narrative to institutions and who they are, and in some ways they get scared about what they think where their story is headed, and that maybe they get closed-minded or short-sighted or myopic or episodic even, right? They act like what is happening now is all there ever was and all there ever will be. Is that something that you see in what you've been looking up? Bud.
Oh, you're talking to me. I'm sorry. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We thought that
sure.
Rachel was going into labor. So. Okay.
No, I'm just kind of in awe of the switcheroo metaphor. The 80s films. I don't know why that was a big deal, but anytime we can work in a pot shot about Notre Dame. No, I think that's I think that's exactly right. And when Dr. Fiore was talking a few minutes ago, like about embracing our identity and how people find that refreshing, there's been studies done that Muslims who are in the United States, they actually feel more comfortable at Catholic colleges than they do at secular universities. For one simple reason, like the idea of there being a God and that your life would be ordered to transcendent ends, that's a welcome idea. And so different traditions that, for certain historical reasons can't be addressed or talked about, like in a state school classroom, like Catholic schools feel completely okay with not only addressing those topics, but doing so sympathetically. And we have this whole history of this is how we interact with different cultures. So I think that's exactly right. For myself, one way I've been thinking about it is with Catholic schools, even if you were successful at that game of imitation, you would be a failure. Christ says, if you gain the whole world but lose your soul, what have you actually gained? And so, just to become something that we're not, I don't think Iowa needs another Iowa State, certainly not another University of Iowa, but it needs Mercy College to be that light in Des Moines.
Well, and Doug, I think we've said this too, that sometimes when you look at doing things that can look similar to what other schools do, but doing it for the reason you've been called to do. Yeah. And, the reason we can open our doors, like you say, and actually interact with all sorts of people who aren't like us is because we are us. We are us. That is horrible English, but I don't teach English. The idea,
it sounds
right,
like a political slogan. We are us.
We are us. Sir.
Bonner 2020.
No, thank you. No, thank you. But because of what we feel we've been called to do, because of Jesus Christ's call, we can open that call to all sorts of people and rest assured that we have nothing to fear from people who aren't like us being a part of our family.
That's such a great point, Bo. And the great gift we have, and the reason this is such a wonderful fit, is we not only can do it, but we can be deliberate and tell people we're doing it. See, we don't have to try and open our doors to everybody because we have an end game of increasing enrollment or offering a program that everybody wants. We can do it and must do it because we're Catholic. And that is exactly who we are. And I want people to know that's why we do what we do.
Yeah.
Well, Bud, I'm surprised. I'm going to tell Doug something that's a little secret. Usually Bud at this point asks a question that cannot be answered in the minute we have left before commercial. So, Bud, what's a question that we're going to have to answer on the other side of the break? We have 30 seconds. We will not be able to answer it at all, but just throw one out there.
As a bit of a teaser, on the next side of the break, I'd be interested in hearing both of your thoughts about Mercy College is a health sciences college. So we've been talking on the show about opportunities and challenges. What about being a health sciences college and specifically training students for professional medical fields? What challenges and opportunities come with that?
Well, I think that's beyond doable. We'll be back here with the Uncommon Good just after a few messages. Stick around, and we'll be back with Dr. Bud Marr and Dr. Douglas Fiore. It gets better every time, Bud. If you want to go onto social media and tell us how great the horse is, there's multiple ways to do it. Facebook, just Iowa Catholic Radio. Go and like us there. Our Twitter handle is at IA Catholic Radio. Post a tweet with a horse face if you want to. There's all sorts of things you can do, folks. You can do Intune bi-weekly e-newsletter. Mailed every other Wednesday. Complete, easy-to-navigate source for station headlines. Only 2 emails per month. We don't bombard your inbox. And like we said, 515-223-1150, the Zip Whip line. If you want to make sure the question is for us, hashtag UCG. Hashtag UCG for the uncommon good. And as always, if you want to check out our Patreon account for exclusive content, that's www.patreon.com/ICR, ICR for Iowa Catholic Radio. And for a small donation a month, you can get exclusive content from behind-the-scene show resources. We'll be back after these messages.
Thank you, Caldwell Parish, for underwriting Iowa Catholic Radio. Conform to the wishes of the deceased and to Catholic liturgical burial traditions. Caldwell Parish Funeral Home, Des Moines' only Catholic-owned and operated funeral home. CaldwellParish.com.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio's broadcast of Dowling Catholic sports and activities is provided by Chemin, using science to improve the world.
Chemin is on the leading edge of molecular science, manufacturing more than 500 specialty ingredients used by the feed and food industries and the health, nutrition, and beauty markets.
Chemin's vision is to improve the quality of life by touching half the people of the world every day with their products and services.
Chemin, using science to improve the world. Online at chemin.com.
Support for the Uncommon Good is provided by Cartridge World. Cartridge World is an industry leader delivering high-performance printing products that help you save time, money, and print great.
Perfect for businesses, home offices, college students, or busy moms trying to find affordable printing supplies including ink, toner, paper, or printers. For business customers, pickup and delivery are available. Products are guaranteed or full replacement.
Cartridge World, your low-cost, environmentally friendly printing experts, 801 73rd Street in Windsor Heights, 515-564-7400, and online at cartridgeworld.com.
Support for programming of Catholic Women Now partially provided by Farm Bureau agent Cindy Schulte. Cindy Schulte on the web at cindyschulte.com, 515-226-2111. Cindy and her team know health insurance.
Be sure to tune into my show, John Leonetti in the Morning, to start your day. Thanks to Plaza Dental Group, Catholic-owned and good friends to Iowa Catholic Radio. Comfortable Dentistry, 515-344-3523, online at dmsmiles.com.
We're back with the Uncommon Good. Bo Bonner, Dr. Bud Marr. We have in studio with us Dr. Douglas Fiore, the president of Mercy College of Health Sciences here in Des Moines, Iowa. President since June 10th, 2018. And we've been having a fantastic talk about his career, his impressions of Des Moines, and then really digging into the role of Catholic education so Bud can write a paper at the same time that he's hosting a show. So, Bud, what was the next paragraph that you needed notes on from Dr. Fiore?
Well, you know, we've been talking about the way that being Catholic allows you to reach out and just to embrace, like, building bridges with other communities, with people from different backgrounds. It can sometimes, like, to be honest, create, how do you say, like, paths that you have to navigate. So I'm thinking specifically, Bo, I know we co-taught bioethics at Mercy, and just kind of like being a Catholic hospital, and you have to like, you have in one view like your Catholic heritage, and the other view like the laws of the land that direct how you need to practice medical work. And so I was just wondering, Dr. Fiore, like your thoughts about being at a health sciences college and what it means to like to initiate students into the medical sciences from a Catholic perspective or inside of a Catholic institution.
Yeah, specifically, Dr. Fiore, that Bud makes a really good point about there's all sorts of jobs you can train for, degrees you can get, but nothing quite captures the pulse of both the cutting edge and long-time concerns like medicine. So not to restate what Bud's saying, but I'm trying to help his paper out even better.
Yeah. Well, if I don't nail it, then clarify it even more. But, you know, first of all, you got to start with great teachers, great curriculum, and a great background like we have in our Catholic faith and tradition. So there's really no challenge to move forward preparing people for any health-related field and doing so while still focusing on the ethics that are so important to what we teach and to the teachings of the church. One of the great things about coming to a college like Mercy, which is a health sciences college, which indicates that what we ought to be focused on and are focused on is cutting-edge preparation so that the people who go out into the fields can perform whatever kinds of medical or medical-related skills that they need to at the cutting edge and to the greatest way possible, but we get to teach them to also focus on the compassion, the care that is the foundation of our church. Now, I'm not suggesting that institutions that aren't Catholic don't do that, but we get to be deliberate and we get to impact students who may not have had any of our faith tradition in their background. So we prepare people in a way that's different and I think better and doesn't create any sort of a conflict that I can identify.
So the thing that one way I would hear what you're saying is we by the virtue that we're teaching medicine, we're always going to be hearing the newest technologies and also new controversies. I know, Bud and I have had the shows talking about euthanasia and then, like what technology does to medicine. But we also want to be timeless at the same time.
Right.
Like the old nerdy theological way to put this is nova et vetera, right? Ever ancient, ever new. And when we try to push for that, the ever ancient, ever new, we want to say that while technology changes, who we are as human beings ultimately does not.
It does not. And, what Catherine McCauley, what the Sisters of Mercy did when they first came here and started caring for the poor and the needy and providing health services, I don't think any of us think they would have any problem doing that today. The way that they did it, the technologies available would have changed, but the purpose behind what we do is exactly the same no matter what.
Yeah, I know with if you go over to Mercy Med even today and you have someone like Laura Winman you're talking to who's been on the show, or Deacon Dave, who I think could pick a pickup truck off of you if he was determined enough. Yeah, just throwing that out there. They like pointing out north of the hospital and saying, the sisters came here to help this community. These are our neighbors. And that idea, right, that like we have neighbors, they're in need. And of course, when you're in the hospital, and when our students graduate and go do that, that's their front line.
Right.
But our front line is to make that possible, but then also to give to serve the students as well. Right.
Yeah.
We hear a lot, and I think to Bud's point about the sort of great anxiety that permeates a lot of our culture. Millennials. Lots of people, but specifically people in their 20s, we hear about the anxiety of job markets and what the world will be like. Am I going to go into a field that will become obsolete? Unless Star Trek is coming to fruition soon, we're always going to have sick people.
We are.
And we hope to give a field that just doesn't give you a good job, but a career and a vocational calling that is long-lasting and the type of thing that can, earn the type of money that you can raise a family, but then also know that you are going to be doing good work for as long as you want to do it.
Yeah, and not only is that 100% right, but I can see how our mission, remaining true to who we've always been, can now be expanded in a slightly different direction. And what I mean by that, I'm not the brightest guy in the world. In fact, I can't even clip my toenails while I'm on the radio.
Yeah, I mean, Bud
like
has
some
you beat
other
on that.
people
That's
can
right.
do.
Yeah.
But I do know that it's time for Mercy College of Health Sciences to, since the Sisters of Mercy came and focused on health care for the poor, for the needy, for the underserved, while we teach people to do that, we also need to recognize our mission to educate the poor, the needy, the underserved. So, when we go back to questions of anxiety about the future, that's why I have none. Because just like there will always be sick people, there also will always be people in need of an education who don't feel like they have access to one. Mm-hmm. And that's who we always will be.
Well, yeah, and that, Doug, that's one of the awesome things about Mercy College. I know from being at different educational institutions, I was just struck when I taught there at the diversity of the student body, and that, you read about some schools and, what percentage of their students are, legacy students, and it becomes kind of, an inbred thing. But at Mercy, they are drawn from all backgrounds. And also, when you say that the school is really strategically placed, that it's in the heart of Des Moines, Des Moines is an area where a lot of refugees and immigrants end up settling. And so there's that kind of, like you're saying, dual role of, a student body and serving students and providing that quality education, but also when you say strategically placed in Des Moines to serve those most in need.
That is absolutely true, Bud. Nothing to add to that. You're spot on.
Bud even noticed that from Pittsburgh in the midst of all the French fries on salad and everything like that.
Well, and one of my ideas is, I would love to really push for, the beatification of Sister Zita,
Oh, yeah.
You hear all these stories of different saints and what they accomplished, but there's some of the sisters that came to Des Moines and the work that they did. I just can't imagine leaving family behind and coming to a strange country and just doing that kind of work and the sacrifice that was involved in that.
The thing too with specifically with that, because we play our show plays in more than just Iowa. People listen to it on iTunes, and what I've loved about the conversation so far is, sure, we're talking about Mercy College, but I want to throw Mercy College out for all the challenges we have and the specific things that we would deal with if you needed to ask about our portfolio on the ground. I hope we start being a witness, that we start being something that people will want to imitate, because the question starts to be, you have to have local heroes and saints to witness and watch those people to say, how can we be different? And wherever you're listening to this, you might go well, do I have to uproot and come to Des Moines? Well, sure, we would love to have you. You can enroll in fall. All those things exist. But also, we have students that are not going to stay in Des Moines. They're going to go to California. They're going to go to the East Coast. And I hope, we teach servant leadership and we tell them, what it was like to not feel like you were being led well. What it's like to how to be different. And whenever you get wherever you're going, the happy curse we give you is that you live different now, that you won't do that to other people, that you'll be different. And so I don't think we're here solely talking about why it's so wonderful to come to our school, even though we think it does. We're not here just sort of doing a long advertisement. We actually hope to be something others imitate. That's
so
our
true.
goal. That
is so true. That's right, because we really do want to be a witness, but more than that, we're called to, we need to. It's who we are and who we've been from the beginning. And you're right. We'd love people to continue to come to Mercy College. Sure, it's important for our well-being and our futures. But far more important than that is the reach that we can have. The great thing about being in the education field and in the education field preparing people for the healthcare field is those are both fields that are needed everywhere, that happen everywhere, and a Mercy-prepared student is going to be the best witness, we believe and we hope and we strive for, wherever they wind up in the world. That's exactly right. Imitate us.
So, Bud, don't, if you come across people in Pittsburgh, tell them that they don't got to worry, that they just got to imitate us, and it's fine.
Well, this is actually a personal struggle for me, because with each city there's the pros and the cons, and you can't sound like you're dissing the city that you live in. But one thing that's been a struggle for me, or something I've had to adjust to, is Des Moines was so easy to navigate. If you had an address, you were fine. Pittsburgh, I'm just constantly lost.
In Pittsburgh, it's which bridge, right? Which system of bridges must you cross to get to the place?
Yeah, which bridge or which tunnel. So in that way, it's sort of like an adult version of Chutes and Ladders. You can turn it into kind of a game. But, no, Doug, I'm curious. This is sort of a nuts and bolts question, but would you say you're still getting your sea legs at Mercy? Or are you already are there initiatives that our listeners might be interested in? How's the honeymoon period gone?
No, it's a great honeymoon. I'll tell you, I think if I ever have my sea legs, perfectly firmly under me, then I'm not paying enough attention. Definitely, I still feel new and like I'm learning. But no, we haven't waited to start initiatives. We've been doing that since the first day on the job. We've done some purposeful reorganization at the college to better align some of our internal efforts like admissions and marketing. We are fully examining all of our academic programs. We have a brand new provost who started just shortly after I did. So we're moving forward, but people like to talk about the honeymoon period and they like to use analogies. It's a perfect one that you said, Bo, with the sea legs. But I better never be completely comfortable and completely firm, because that's when we'll start to stand still. So, let's keep the challenges coming. That's what it's all about.
The world just said, no worries. We're going to keep that. That's recorded now. And later when you're all like, oh, all these challenges, I'll just hit replay on that one. No, sorry, that's a little too good. One thing, when you get to, you get to choose, I want to go be a president. You've been around at different places. You've mostly been in the Midwest. You grew up in New York.
Yes.
And then decided that the Midwest was better. I think we're going to put that on record somewhere as well.
That's true.
No. When it comes to learning from different places and trying to sort of synthesize all that knowledge at the new place you're at. I mean, Bud and I are not as far in our careers. That's another way of saying you're older than we are, just to point that out. What is it like to do that? You get to a new position, especially something like president. If you're going to be a good educator, you yourself should get good at learning. Another bad English phrase.
Right.
How do you think? Where you're at now, what's that been like to be able to say I've been to enough places, been through enough systems that you have to synthesize that for other people?
Yeah, that's a great question. When one begins the journey, and the journey's different for everybody, but to think I'd like to be a president of a college, which is definitely a journey that I there wasn't an official start date, but I began on that journey. There's two things you have to do, and this is in any leadership position. You need to pay attention to learning the skills. So there are areas of colleges, of all institutions, that I never worked in. I've been an academic my whole life, so areas in business and finance, were not areas that I necessarily worked in. So one studies those things and one starts looking for patterns, but to me, that was always the least important. To me, what mattered the most was to continue to test my belief that the culture of an organization is the most important thing, that everything else is a program or a technique or something that you can put some other noun to. But the culture is the thing that determines what can work and what can't work. So, I was in large public institutions, small private institutions, and when I was an American Council on Education fellow, I got to visit 60 plus different institutions, work a little bit with presidents and vice presidents, and sure, I learned things. I saw commonalities, things that I could bring to Mercy and recognize that were operational. But none of it mattered as much as having affirmed my belief, my commitment that the culture was the most important. So what I guess I'm saying is it brings you to a point when you have those kinds of things affirmed, then I can be deliberate when I try and help Mercy be the best Mercy as it possibly can be. I can be deliberate on impacting at the cultural level, at what we believe, at how we behave, at how we treat other people and want to be treated. Those things I learned in my first presidency, and I think are true for all presidents. Those things will ultimately impact the college more than any techniques I might have been able to learn about budgeting, for example.
Well, I really love that idea. Go ahead, Bo. Were you going to?
No, I'm just saying we're getting ready to come to the close. So, Bud, this is your last chance to like get the conclusion of your paper written.
Actually, in this case, I have a real concrete question, not something real open-ended. I love that idea that culture precedes programming,
Yes,
and that it has a greater centrality. And I know you could point to a number of values, but like to put flesh on the bones, what do you see as like a central value that you would highlight as like this is absolutely integral to a culture of an institution that's going to teach people, teach college students?
Yeah. If I have to boil it down to one, I'll say integrity. I won't allow myself to do a Mercy College commercial now and talk about all of our core values because they're all important. Yeah. But truly, it's integrity. When you're in a culture where people can truly believe that what I say is what I believe and what I do and what I expect, and that's true of all of us, we can adapt to any kind of person or any kind of situation. What we have trouble adapting to is uncertainty, unfairness, things that mean one thing one day and one thing another day. So the integrity, I think, is the one that popped into my mind first as essential.
When I think, the university, I know we're Mercy College, but the university, the general idea, right? That people forget that uni part, right? The one. It's integrated. You can go back to the Middle Ages and talk about unified around theology, the mother of the queen of all sciences. But the idea is still education that unifies. And so integrity, of course, integrity in the sort of layman's terms mean exactly what you said, like that I trust what you say and that I'll do what I say in private, what I would do if everyone was watching me. But then that word, right, integral, integrated, those words are all, that's what we want to strive to do, is we want a whole person that deals with whole people, that heals whole people in a whole world in an integrated cosmos, really, right? And so integrity just starts to, the more you think about it, the more it actually says.
Oh, that's really, really well said, Bo. I'm surprised that you're not an English teacher. And I think actually that line, since I wish I said it, but I didn't and you did, is probably the single biggest thing that has saved your job to this point.
Thank you.
I'm kidding, of course.
No, that's pure gold. Well, so for more golden nuggets like this, so we're wrapping up now. But if you go to www.patreon.com/ICR, so Patreon, patreon.com/ICR for Iowa Catholic Radio, President Fiore's agreed to stay and ask. We're going to ask him some of the more mundane but important questions. So I think sports teams and food is what we're getting at. He is Douglas Fiore, by the way, so we have some Italian questions for you, too. But, Doug, it's been a pleasure to have you on, and it's been really great, and I think Bud's talk is going to go really well now.
Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Well, Bud, it's really unfair when we have good guests. They do most of the work for us. I'm not going to point out bad guests. That would be rude. But when you have a good guest on, you always feel like an hour's not enough, and I suppose that's what you want. You want to keep the people waiting. Like, next week, what animal noise will they use for the breaks? Things like that.
Well, no, and I loved how the conversation ended. Like, I think if we can just be people and institutions where other folks know, like, what we say is what they get. Like you turn on the news, that's kind of a lost art these days. So,
what are you ever talking about?
No, I'm not picking on any specific person or party, just in general. But I did want to throw in there, Bo, real quick. You mentioned the Patreon account. I should have formulated official rules or something. But the next person who signs up and forwards their receipt, I'll send them a copy of my book.
Oh, right, yeah. Bud has
and
a
book. And the book is cost prohibitive, so
right.
there is some incentive here. You can actually save money by signing up for the account rather than buying the book online.
That's right. So, yeah, we will timestamp that baby. Hopefully there's a huge flood and we have to decide between people. But the next person who signs up for Patreon.com will get Bud's book that even if you don't want to read it, will certainly kill small animals. This is the uncommon good. May Jesus Christ, the Prince of Peace, reign in our hearts, in our families, in our city, state, nation, our world, solar system, the entire cosmos. This has been the Uncommon Good. May God bless you, and we'll talk to you next week. But it's like wine. It just gets better with age.
With age, yep.
I am too happy about that. So, what's all going around on? What's happening in the diocese? We have. There's a wine collection social? When is that? August. Is it August 2nd? August 2nd. Okay, I was making sure. So, Bud, wine collection, things to do. Go look at that one. We have the Iowa State Fair. We're going to be in the parade, and then we're going to be there all week. We have Christ Our Life Conference coming up September 29th through 30th. But if they want to actually be involved, not physically but spiritually, what are ways they can do that? Through listening on our station.
Yeah, besides the great talk shows that we have, a lot of opportunities through the radio for prayer. I'm thinking you could set your alarm for 3 p.m. and do the Divine Mercy Chaplet, or before going to bed each night, Iowa Catholic Radio Rosary at 9:30, followed by a gospel reflection by Father Andrew Winchell. So a lot of great stuff.
And then, as always, we like to point out that our ministry is not just we speaking on the radio, and it's not even necessarily the staff. You are involved as well. It is our ministry. Our ministry that spans walls is on 24/7, and you can be a part of that by donating to Iowa Catholic Radio. Your donations keep us on the air and keep the mission and the voice of Christ going through southern Iowa and all the places that we reach. So if you remember us monthly, we appreciate it, and we want to say thank you. So again, this is the Uncommon Good. Bud, I might talk to you next week. You might be on baby duty.
Yeah, hopefully I'll be with you, but if not, blessings to all our listeners, and yeah, you all are in our prayers.
Yeah, we'll tell Rachel that she's definitely in our prayers, and yeah, we'll see you next week, buddy. Take care.
Okay.
This is the Uncommon Good. God bless. See you next Wednesday.
The Uncommon Good with Bo Bonner and Dr. Bud Marr is heard every week on wonderful Catholic stations like this one, and anytime on podcast. Just search for The Uncommon Good.